What's up, guys? I got the keys here, back with another video. So, if you feel like you're doing everything right, but your life still isn't changing, this is probably why. Okay? So, you're working out sometimes, you're focused sometimes, you're disciplined most of the time, right? But for results, you're still inconsistent. You're still not where you should be. That's because almost discipline is actually costing you more than being completely off. Okay. So, you know, almost discipline tricks you, and um, it makes you feel like you're progressing, right? But in reality, you're just maintaining the same cycle. Because every time you say, I'll lock in tomorrow, I'll take care of that tomorrow. Um, you reset the standard, right? Um, so it looks something like this, right? You're locked in for 3 or 4 days and then you slip, right? You justify it and you say, oh, it's not that bad, it's not a big deal. But then you restart. And that restart loop, that's exactly what's keeping you stuck, right? Not lack of effort. Because we all know you're doing the work, right? So, if you're listening to this and this is exactly what you've been doing, okay, just relating or repeating that cycle, right, over and over. I actually work with people one-on-one on this because most of the time it's not just discipline. There's a pattern underneath it, right, that needs to be fixed. And not that you're broken, but there's a slight pattern that needs to be adjusted, right? So if you want help breaking that for real, you can reach out to me. My info is in the description. Just hit my email. Just message me help and your name, and we'll get you set up. Okay. Um, so you don't need to be perfect. Okay. But you do need to stop negotiating with yourself, right? Every time it gets uncomfortable, um, because every small exception becomes your new standard, right? Every time you accept something that you're not really willing to put up with, you're now setting that back into motion. Okay. Um, so there's a shift that comes with this, and real discipline isn't intense. Okay. It's consistent. It's boring. Um, it's doing the same thing even when you don't feel like it. Okay. So if you've been stuck in that almost phase, right? Understand this. You're not far off, okay? And that gap, that's everything. Okay? So you just need to lock in. And I can attest to this because like I said before with videos even, I had to start setting a schedule of when I was going to post and how much I was going to post, and everything to get that locked in for me. Originally I was posting one video a week if I was lucky, right? Sometimes I would go weeks without posting because I couldn't get myself motivated. Um, Same thing with, working out. At first it was maybe one day a week for 30 minutes. Now I work out every day. You don't have to work out every day, but um, I learned how to juggle those things, and I learned how to push myself even if I didn't want to do it, right? Like even if I was tired, I'm like, fuck it, I'm getting up. We're gonna work out today, like no matter what. Even when I was first starting, that first day after I worked out, I was so tired, and um, the second day after, I still came right back and just did the same workout again. Everything hurt. I just did it anyways, right? Now, I wouldn't recommend pushing yourself and pulling muscles and stuff, but um, take care of yourself, obviously. But I'm just giving an example here. So it's just like things like that we those little things that we can lock into, and some things take longer than others. So if you're trying to lock in on money or stuff like that, that takes time to build. And sure, you might get an inheritance overnight or something, but real wealth takes time to build. And changing your beliefs, changing the way that you interact with the world, you know, what would that millionaire version of yourself be doing, right? What would they be acting like? What would they talk like? And I'm not saying that you just have to sit there and think like that, but um, you also have to act on that. So again, this takes time. You start learning how to invest, you start learning how to build a business, you start learning how to, I don't know, buy stocks, whatever, so just examples here, but it's just little things that we can do in our daily life to move things along, right? So, with that being said, I would love if you guys would like, share, subscribe, and drop a comment on um, what your discipline's been like, what you've been going through with that. And again, one on ones in the description. So, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.